Okay, the next seam technique is the butted seam. So this one, we don't have seam allowances for it. You actually are just gonna sew the raw edges right together. You're not gonna overlap it. You're not gonna put right sides together, sew and open. You're just gonna line up those raw edges. So your book talks about a common place to do this is if you have some bulky interfacing and you just wanna eliminate all the bulk, right? So you just butt up your seam allowances and you're gonna stitch it. You're actually going to secure it to some kind of taping on the back. And, so you definitely want to have fabric that's not going to unravel and fray, or figure out a way to make sure it doesn't unravel, maybe an overcast seam or something. But yeah, anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and cut myself some taping here. This is just some twill tape that I have lying around. What's great about it, I don't have to worry about it fraying on the edges here. And to start it up, your book has you to go ahead and just baste this guy to the twill tape, one side, and then to baste the other side, okay? So that they are in place, and then once it's basted, then we can secure it to the twill tape and take out the base stitches. Your book talks about you can use a machine stitch to sew it to the twill tape, or you could use a hand catch stitch as well. So I'll go ahead and start by basting this guy right now. Okay, so now it is basted and I'm ready to actually secure this to the tape. I do love the sewing machine, so I might run it to the sewing machine and just go ahead and sew it that way. But in your book, they illustrate the catch stitch, which is one of our hand techniques that you've already learned how to do. So I'll let you choose how you want to secure the twill tape to butt these two seams together for a real nice smooth seam. You could feel it's just not too bulky, which is great. So I'm going to run to the machine and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and machine stitched it. Make sure you guys can see it okay. So now what I'm going to do is take out my baste stitch. So I should be able, actually if I go on this side, I put little knots so I can probably pull those. Let's see, as long as the stitching didn't get on it, should just come out pretty easily. Let's try this guy. It looks like my machine stitching went over that one, so it might be a little bit harder to pull out. Could grab a seam ripper, which I suppose I should do. Yeah, this side got run over by the machine stitches. Okay, but I got it. Okay, came out. just cut this part off. Okay, so now my base stitch is out and my seam has been butt together as well. Now everything is white, so I don't know if you can tell, but when I zoom in, I feel like I do still see a little bit of my twill tape, so maybe I could have butt this part, gosh, 1/16 inch closer together. So it kind of shows how important that base stitch is, because it sure does wiggle a little bit under the machine. But you know, I still think that this will be perfectly fine and will fit nicely. Oh yeah, and then when you're done, I do recommend trimming this bottom part as well. And I don't have to worry about this fraying, so I'll just leave it the way it is.